I don't want to keep you guys. So let's do this. So coaching, getting ready to now everything you've learned and you've been implementing, right? And putting that to work with your team. And what's great about coaching is you guys identified a couple people on the last module that you really wanted to start coaching, or for some people, they didn't really have anybody. So it was really looking at maybe those new people or the potential new people, because everybody has a recruiting goal right now. So potentially starting to coach those new people to be able to achieve their dreams and goals. So this is a good one to start implementing, again, everything that you've learned thus far, and that is making you successful in the business. So our agenda today is going to be support, which is the second S in boss. Oh my gosh, we're almost done with the program. It's crazy. Know who to coach, and we identified that a little bit in the last module, so you guys kind of have that based on planning. The Avon coach approach, so what that looks like from Avon, what to really think about before you start the coaching process, and then what those interactions are going to look like. And then you guys know this, it's going back to the GROW model that we learned in conversational selling, because coaching is just like selling. And I told you guys a million times, it comes full circle, right? We really use those conversational selling skills in our coaching as well. So we use them in onboarding, we use them in selling, we also use them in coaching. So, and then what's your plan? So your coaching plan. So again, this is all about the S in boss, which is support. It's that second S. So think back, and I love this part, but think back to someone you had who was a great coach. So somebody you've met, and what made them great. And I always think about it this way. It's somebody probably that as you're coaching or starting to develop your coaching skills, it's somebody that you really want to emulate. It may be somebody in the business that you want to emulate, but can anybody think of anybody? They give you some examples here where it could have been a boss, a mentor, a neighbor, a friend, a teacher, a politician, voting coming up tomorrow, right?
Well, when I first started in Avon, I was signed up by the district manager.
Yeah.
She emulated the Avon business, and that was like the pivotal part of a coach to me that helped me, understand what business is, how to talk to people, how to recruit, how to sell, and it was always about conversation. Okay, y'all hear my granddaughter?
I love it.
That's all I'm gonna say, because me.
Aw, Val's done because she's like, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, and I kind of, what's so funny is I thought right away that you probably would say like Vivian, Val. I kind of thought that because Vivian was a great coach to me as well. And a lot of things that she said to me, even though I was with her for a very short amount of time, were very powerful. And I really took into consideration all the things that she did as a coach. And what made her great, I think, and I hope makes me great too, because I do really try to implement it. She always asked a lot of open-ended questions. She always had great guidance. And I've had way more coaches in my life than that, right? I've had an old manager who still is my best friend, who I look to all the time still for business knowledge, because she's just so knowledgeable about all aspects of life and business. My mom was my softball coach as a kid. So, my mom was hopefully somebody, I'll speak to her too, but hopefully somebody out there is talking about my mom as a coach. There's so many people in our lives that we look up to and we can take into consideration. My kindergarten teacher, I will never, ever forget her. I mean, she definitely was a great coach and a great mentor, even at a young age. So I don't know if, Pat, you want to chime in at all, but.
Okay, well, mine would be the district sales manager too.
Oh,
and
how funny.
She was like, she wouldn't take no for an answer. She would find a way to, when she's talking to you or she's out recruiting with you and prospecting, She never listened to no. She would just keep working and keep working and keep working, and she would show you how that if you keep talking
Great.
and you keep pursuing, that you're gonna get that yes.
Wonderful. So
And
what I hear there is she was a great model. So it's just
yes,
like
she
what you're
was.
doing. You model best practices, right? And then it's their turn to try best practices, and then you can debrief. So that's much of what a coach is. At the beginning, it's very much mentoring, right? And modeling,
Correct.
showing the way. I love that. Fantastic. So now think back. Who would you identify? Oh, this is the wrong. Why didn't it change? Who knows? Here we go. So I think it skipped a slide, guys. I don't know what is happening with this computer. Give me 1 second. Oh, no, it didn't. I really thought it did. So before we can explore how to coach, we need to look at understanding who to coach, right? So this is another study, and you guys know probably I love these studies, but a recent study published by Harvard Business Review identified that most coaches spend time coaching poor performers and high performers while ignoring their core performers. Oh my gosh, does this sound like you guys? Do you ever think about that? Like that they're okay? Those ones that are just doing what they're doing and they're good to go. So think about those people that you coach today. You may not think of it as formal coaching, but I would imagine there are some team members that get more attention than others. I actually know that from all of you because we've talked about it. So you may not think of it as that, but coaching poor performers, what happens is you often feel appropriate as there is nowhere to go but up, right? So we identify those poor performers and think, well, let's coach them because, I mean, obviously all they can do is better, right? You have to consider, though, that these individuals might not be in the right role to begin with based on their skill set. Oh, and we talk about this a lot too, right? Skill versus will. So have you ever spent a bunch of time coaching somebody who did not improve? And what was the issue? Can you guys think of anybody that I know you can, because with half of you, we talked about it already.
Yeah, I've coached several individuals that, and spent really a lot of time with them, even to a point of, getting them, help get them to trips and stuff, and just to come to them quitting after the trip. So you have to do a reflection on that. What happened? What was the motivation? What was the turnoff? And, it can be frustrating because you think that if you help someone, it really depends on what you help them do and how you help them. Yeah. If you do it for them almost, then they haven't done it themselves, so they really didn't get what you had intended for them to get. They just, you did it for them. So you gotta, when you're coaching, you gotta be careful not to do it. You have to literally demonstrate, ask the question, and see if they actually understand. We call it independent study, group study, and then action study. So it's a wonderful experience to see them make it, but then it hurts when they,
It's so funny, Valerie, because it's on the next slide. So literally it says doing for them to building their capability. I don't want to jump ahead, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Is a lot of times it's like they want that trip so bad that we're doing everything to help them get there. But then by the time that they get the trip and they're done with the trip, they're paralyzed and don't know how to run their business, and you can't run it for them anymore, right? So aside from those poor performers, coaching high performers is super fun, right? It can be really easy, it's fun, but sometimes those people aren't necessarily motivated to change something that isn't broken, right? So it's fun because you're like, oh my gosh, they know how to do everything. This is great. But research shows that it's actually the core or that mid-tier performers that represent the biggest opportunity for impacting your team's overall performance. Even at a moderate improvement of coaching those core performers, it's said to improve performance by 19%. So that was that study. That's huge, right? So prioritize your coaching time wisely by seeking out high potential core performers that are enthusiastic and open to feedback. They have to be coachable, which we'll talk about that too. So here's kind of what Valerie just said. So there's an old adage that says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Have we all heard that, right? And it's kind of up there on the screen. So being someone that others want to follow comes down to empowering individuals to be the best version of themselves. It's not about doing things for them, as Valerie said, right? It's leading alongside them or micromanaging every movement, right? We don't want to do that. So instead, it's about building them up, supporting their efforts, and coaching them to become a leader. When you do this, you're empowering people to become that entrepreneur they see themselves being or that you're being, right? They, in turn, can bring this amazing Avon opportunity to others. So they're feeling confident, they're building their business, they're naturally going to want to help others do this as well. And they're going to exude that confidence and that motivation to others and really inspire people to want to be part of the business. So coaching your team can help you grow your business. We know that, right? By enriching the lives of your team. Your team can support you as you reach your dreams. Our coach approach at Avon is about developing these relationships through intentional interactions designed to build confidence through inspiring a person's heart. Oh my gosh, does this look familiar? I mean, it should. It's pretty much what we did in our kickoff module, right? So we're going to really go through these elements today. So before you begin coaching, and you may have never really thought about this because I feel like as we go through this coaching seminar, a lot of times what I see from you guys is that you're like, oh, I've never done that. So do you ever ask for permission? Are we getting to know their heart and belief, kind of like we did in the kickoff module, right? We got to know, I mean, we talked extensively about your heart, your belief, your goal, you know, what you want out of this business, what you want out of life in general. And then you really want to build that trusted relationship. So that loyalty, right, to you, they feel comfortable with you. They want to go to you with questions. And then identify your coaching priorities, which we'll also go over. As far as it's going to be different with each individual person. So, you know, that's something you'll have to start to delve into their business by looking at your vibe reports to really see what this person needs. Also, just by listening to what they're trying to go for and what their wants, needs, and goals are, you can identify those coaching priorities. So these steps contribute to building that trust with the person and respecting their needs, again, and their wants, right? So once you identify someone that you would like to coach, you need to ask them for permission. So you have a couple people that you wrote down from planning. So our next steps are going to be in coaching is actually very first asking for their permission. So a great way to ask for permission is looking at something they've achieved. So maybe they've achieved a great sale, right? Or maybe they're placing orders every campaign. So saying like something like, oh my gosh, Dolly, I see that you've, been placing consistent $300 orders. That is so exciting. I can tell you want to grow your business. I'd love to learn more about you and help you grow. Would it be okay if we started a coaching relationship, right? And it's going to ask you this on your application guide as well, but just start to think about how you're going to ask to coach somebody. And again, with those people that you already identified. So in order to inspire an individual, sorry, this thing is not working in my favor today. So in order to inspire an individual, you have to first understand them, right? You'll want to understand why they have a business. Again, it's going back to their heart, as well as what's important to them. By asking some of these questions, you can learn a lot about your next potential leader's heart. So what does she want in life? What does she not want? Some things that you guys said were like financial freedom. You wanted to buy a new car. You wanted to be able to pay for a wedding. You wanted to be able to save money for your grandkids' college. I mean, oh my gosh, we heard across the board, right? So you're probably going to hear some of these things from them. Why do they have a business? Maybe they do it because they want to be their own boss. They want to have more time freedom. Again, these are all questions you were asked at the beginning as well. How does running their Avon business make them feel? Empowered, business savvy, very independent. Confident is a big one that all of you guys said too, is I just feel more confident by doing something like this. How has our Avon business changed her life in a positive way? Maybe she's made new friends or has grown, again, more confident, or earned money to pay for whatever, a car, college, the light bill we hear, which is so sad sometimes, but we really do hear that, we need the money to pay bills, which is great. I mean, we can help them do that. So think about a member of your team. Are you able to articulate the answers to these questions? Do you guys have anybody on your team now that you can think about that you already know their heart and their belief?
I say the two potential coaches that I had said in the other module, I know their heart and I know what they're thinking, so we just got to work on it.
Okay, good. So you already have that first basic step of relationship and you know why they're doing this. Now you just need to build more on the actual coaching plan, which we're going to get to.
Yes.
Awesome.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, I keep getting interrupted, so
it's okay.
Could you mind just send me the link afterwards so I can hear everything, because I've listened to it already.
Yep,
trying to listen to the rest while I'm
I didn't really plan on you being on. That's why I didn't reach out to you, because I knew that you were busy this week. So no worries. No worries.
Well, luckily I'm driving for the next hour, so I figured I'd listen in.
Okay. Very good. So we tend to think about the 3 R words when building trust, right? And you guys probably think about this, but you think about being real, being relatable, and being reliable. So I know, all of these things mean trust to me. So being real requires you to be authentic, realistic, and to share your story. So to be open, right? You're asking them a lot of things. You need to be open as well. So this leads to individual being able to relate with you. You want them to feel comfortable with you. Being relatable requires that you listen, you empathize, and you tailor your message to their story. So let's take this one. So if a team member is struggling with how to manage their time more effectively, provide guidance based on your experience. So this isn't just about leading by example, but helping your team realize that you were once in their shoes and you overcame many of those obstacles they are now facing. So seeing your success will make you more relatable and motivate them to then strive for what you've already accomplished. And then being reliable is also about establishing credibility, being consistent, and being present. So are these kind of what you feel helps with a trusted relationship? Or do they mean something else to you, these words, the 3 R's?
No, these are the critical pieces to success in a business.
Mm-hmm. So, building any relationship, really.
Exactly.
I agree with Valerie. These are the 3 best R's.
And I agree. I love these. So I'm always thinking about this. Am I being real? And you guys know I'm super transparent. So, I really suggest, and so are my mentors, and my bosses. And I think too, I really appreciate that. Because nobody likes it to just be thrown at them and not really understand, or nobody likes to not know what's going on or know the person that they're talking to. I agree with this statement too, that trust really builds on a slow clock, right? It takes a while to gain somebody's trust. So what might a coach do that can either build or erode trust? Do you guys have any examples of how you've built up trust, or you've built trust with someone else, or somebody who maybe has I can always think of the people that have eroded my trust first.
I think that from the building trust is that you make yourself realistic by doing what you say you're going to do. If you can't do something, it's better to say that you can't do it, or we have to wait a little while longer because of whatever it is. But don't tell them you're going to do something and don't do it.
Yes, honesty, keeping your promise almost, right? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. 1,000,000%.
Yes, your word is your bond.
Yes.
If you give your word, then that's your bond.
That's right. And that's the quickest way to erode trust too, isn't it? Is to not keep your word.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love
and I
that.
think another way to erode trust is when you're telling somebody something and their mind is somewhere else and they didn't even hear what you had to say. So then when you're trying to talk to them, they're saying, well, you know what? I said this, this, and this, and she didn't even hear what I had to say.
So true. So not listening. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not really knowing that person. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So this also should look very similar to you. So identifying their coaching priorities, and you guys might want to do a similar exercise like this with the people that you start to coach. And you have this back from our kickoff module, and you're going to see it again when we do our wrap up. But this is just the competencies, and you can look back over it. It really does. Remember how you wrote challenged, inconsistent, or consistent? It really does help you then realize where they feel like they're strong and where they feel like they need a little bit more coaching. So for you, Patricia, this might be something that helps you with those couple people. You already know their heart, you know their belief, but maybe you need to know in the business, where do they need help? Exactly. So you can take that back, what we did in the kickoff, and you can, not use maybe that first page, but use the second page and really have them do the X's in the box to start to identify where you need to spend time with them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. So once you've accomplished these steps, you can begin to have coaching interactions. By now, you've had their permission, you know her well, and you've begun to establish the relationship. So you already used some conversational selling. You maybe did the kickoff module with the competencies. She's prioritized her coaching needs and is now feeling good about your relationship and is receptive to your ideas and suggestions. It again goes back to just building a relationship. The person is going to be more apt to want help from you if you already have a trusted relationship. So if trust is required to build this relationship, intentional interactions can solidify your relationship. To build trust with each interaction, make sure you consider the following 4 steps. And this should, again, look very similar. A lot of this is going to feel like we're going through conversational selling now, again, in the next couple slides. So identifying a need, understanding what the individual is struggling to overcome will allow you to provide relevant coaching. The problem is sometimes it's not as easy as individual exclaiming, I have a weakness in this area, right? They may not come out and say it. So how can we identify as coaches their needs in other ways beyond the coaching priorities discussion that we have? So maybe there's some different ways to think about how or what they need help with. Like, what is their opportunity, for a lack of better words? Do you guys have any ideas of how to seek out somebody's opportunity in the business without just coming out and asking them or trying to get them to realize and fess up? Because it's hard for somebody to say that what their weakness is. Yeah. What'd you say, Val? Did you mean to come off mute?
I was going to say something, then my granddaughter started talking.
Okay. My biggest thing that I hear a lot of the time is just observing, right? So can you observe them in like a normal situation? So I think about if you're building a leader, you're probably building recruits, right? You're building the recruiting and prospecting aspect of the business. You're also building that leadership role. So what if we were to go out and just observe? Do you think that would help? Yeah.
I think so, because if you going out with someone and you felt one way about them, but then you actually started watching how they're doing when they're going out prospecting, then you're able to give them some feedback
Yep.
on something that they didn't realize that they were doing or not doing during that process.
Yeah. And then, yeah, absolutely. So observation is a good one. The next thing can be their vibe. We can look at their reporting really in depth, and we can really start to see, what's going on in the business by delving into their reports. It's what I do a lot of the time with you guys, right? Before we talk every time, I'm looking at your reporting just to see what's going on. So I think that's another way to really figure out if they're not giving you exactly what their needs are, then that will help you figure out where they're struggling. And then coaching interactions are much like selling. Again, we know that, right? It's like combo selling all over again. You can see that identifying needs and investigating why the first steps in coaching are just like the G and Grow. So get to know her wants and needs. You should use the same skills as you do when you sell. So asking really good open-ended questions and then digging deeper with follow-up questions to understand more. Instilling confidence in a coaching interactions aligns well with the R and the O in Grow. In order to instill confidence with your team member, you need to recommend some possible solutions. So again, offering those relatable stories and best practices to motivate her to try and see that the solution can make a difference. So giving examples, and then also sometimes it just helps to give, especially in somebody who's a new leader, give them some top best practices that have worked well for you or maybe another leader that you know. And then inspiring to action in a coaching conversation. You're working to establish next steps, which hello is the W in Grow. You want to work with your team member to identify what she can do to practice her skills or try new approaches soon after that interaction. You want to then collaborate on a call to action. So get her commitment and follow up to see how well it went. Follow-up is important not only to provide accountability, but it's also an opportunity to celebrate success. So really talking about fortune in the follow-up, again, we all know this. If we're not following up with these people that we're coaching, more than likely we're going to erode that relationship, right? And then we're not going to see them grow because we're not continuously checking in on them. It also is that accountability or action, right, to getting them to really take the next step. So holding them accountable, but it also holds you accountable to your follow-up as well. And that's what I love about this. So not only do selling conversations and coaching interactions involve similar steps, they also require one very important skill to be successful, which is that big one, listening with questions. So as a coach and as a salesperson, you guys know how vital it is to ask a lot of good open-ended questions and then listen really carefully to the person you're speaking with. Patricia said that as well, really listening and understanding what they're trying to do. There are a broad range of benefits from effective questioning, from being able to connect in more meaningful ways to helping individuals self-discover opportunities for growth and ideas for improvement. So this is probably my favorite thing because self-discovery is generally what all of you do. So you usually come up with your own solution, and that is the best feeling as a coach. For you to come up with, oh, you know what? It's because I needed to do this. Or maybe I should try this. I did it in the past. So you want to ask questions one at a time. So keep questions brief and clear and try not to clarify or rephrase the question. This often creates confusion. I do that sometimes. That is one of my opportunities. So think about that when you're coaching. Are you asking one simple question and then waiting for the answer? Or do you sometimes rephrase it because you're not sure if they understood what you're trying to say? And then ask open-ended questions. So try to avoid the yes-no questions by stating the question with a why or how. It prompts the individual to think for themselves. You can't get a discussion going if you only require a one syllable response. Now, what I will say to you is sometimes you need to do a yes or no question, a close-ended question, and then follow it with an open-ended question. And you guys figured that out pretty quick in the conversational selling seminar. So, asking follow-up questions that don't lead the witness, and try not to answer your own question in the follow-up question. For example, what is contributing to your increase in team sales? Was it the new brochure? So you answered your own question instead of just waiting. Sometimes the silence is awkward, but sometimes the silence is such a good thing because all it is them thinking. They're really thinking about what they want to say to you, okay? They're figuring out that self-discovery. So what's contributing to your increase in team sales? It wasn't the new brochure. Maybe it was that you had a Zoom call with your whole team and you guys talked about upselling and cross-category sales. But when you said, was it the new brochure, they automatically thought, oh, maybe that's what it was, right? So that's leading the witness. Then ask the question and then listen. So again, don't be afraid of that awkward silence. Just be patient. It's a signal that you really want that thoughtful participation. Count to yourself while the individual thinks. The silence rarely lasts more than 10 seconds. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Because I literally have got to make myself stop talking sometimes because silence can be super awkward, right? But it's just because they're thinking. They want to come up with a really intelligent, educated response. So active listening is just as, if not more important than a good questioning strategy. This is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to being real. So imagine you're meeting with me, your coach, and in the middle of the conversation, I take a call and I leave you hanging for 5 to 10 minutes. So, oh, sorry, Steven's calling me. I'm so sorry. I'm going to put you on hold. I'll be right back. And I don't come back for at least 5 minutes. How would you guys feel in that situation?
It's very distracting and it puts you off topic.
Yeah. Would you hang up on me? Because if it was me, I would probably be like, I'm hanging up. And I'd probably text the person and be like, sorry, I'm busy. I only have 10 more minutes. So just think about that. Yeah.
It makes it a real awkward situation. Mm-hmm. And going back, I'm real bad about this, and Jennifer can attest to it. That moment of silence, or even sometimes not a moment of silence, I don't shut up, and that's not a good thing. Or they're not actually answering the question fully, and I answer it for them. Mm-hmm. And I got to get away from that. I don't always let them talk. Mm-hmm. I talk for them, and that's kind of across the board in a lot of situations. And I got to get away from that.
Yeah, it's me too, so I get it.
I constantly have to tell Lori, stop a minute and listen for a second.
Yeah. I mean, that's great that you guys have that relationship as well. So Lori is on Jennifer's team. So just so you guys know. So, I mean, it's great that they can tell each other that because a lot of people don't have that relationship. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like, you have to sit back and just listen. And let me tell you, it is, for me being like a massive talker, it is probably one of the hardest things about coaching to me because I always want to fill the space.
Yeah, I understand that. I tend to be a talker too. So when me and Lori get on the phone, I feel like sometimes the conflict of us both being talkers causes it too. So that's why I can tell Lori, and she knows I don't mean anything by it, except, just give me a second, Lori, because I might not be as quick on the draw as she is about something.
Nice. So think about this when you're having these coaching conversations. Listen without opinion. That's hard sometimes, right? Clear your head and really focus on the person. So make sure your cell phone is off. You don't have to have your cell phone off, but like for you guys right now, just so you know, I flipped my phones over and they're on silent. So I never try to look at them unless I know there's something that's happening and I need to have it flipped over whenever I'm on the phone with you guys or I'm on one of these calls. So, and then reflect to ensure you are talking less and listening more. So halfway through the conversation, take stock. Am I talking too much? Am I talking too little? Listening is more than just hearing what they're saying. It's also about reading between the lines to understand what they are or are not telling you. key takeaways here is to talk less and listen more by utilizing an effective questioning strategy and practicing the art of active listening. And let me tell you, it does take practice. So you'll also hear me a lot of times rephrase maybe something you said. So let me make sure I'm hearing you right, Jennifer. You just said blah, blah, blah. Is that correct? Because sometimes the talking can go on for a while and you start to lose what the person's actually saying. So sometimes as a coach, you have to rephrase it, because I've had in many instances them say, oh, no, that's not what I meant. Or, yeah, you've got it. Just to make sure you're on the right page with them, so that then you can start to, come up with some recommendations or figure out what the challenges are. So here's an example. We have Jill. She's a bronze ambassador who is eager to build her Avon business. You've been coaching her for a few months. She is clearly communicating that she is having problems recruiting new team members. I'm totally sure you guys don't know anybody like Jill. So in anticipation of next week's coaching conversation, put yourselves in the position of the coach in this scenario. What questions might you ask when investigating why Jill is unable to recruit new team members?
Well, the first thing I would want to know is, how is she approaching them?
Wonderful.
That would be the first thing, because then if you know that, she might be just handing them a book and say, hey, you want to sign up for Avon? Then that's an instant no.
So great. So Jill, can you tell me what your approach is to getting new recruits? I love it.
Yep.
Perfect. Would anybody do anything differently?
I think I would also ask Jill what questions or how she's approaching this person. What question is she asking the person to ensure that they really want to be an Avon representative? They may just want to be a customer. So to make sure that you're asking the right questions so that you can lead them in the right way, in the right direction, because sometimes we can always assume that everybody wants to sell Avon and they may not want to, or everybody wants to be a customer and they really want to sell Avon. So you got to ask the right question.
So asking them, instead of just what's your approach, what questions are you asking when you approach? Okay, so kind of building on the approach. Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
I would say, and I've found it, sometimes it's situational. If you're in certain places, sometimes you don't have enough time for a full approach. More so with coaching, but you have to set up a time frame for possibly the proper amount of time. Actually, I don't think I'm even getting across what I really want to say there.
I think you are, Lori. I think I get it. So maybe where are you approaching new recruits might get you that, because
where I'm approaching new recruits.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, if you're approaching a mom with 4 kids in the grocery store line, you're not going to get the attention needed. Does that make sense?
Right. You would have to possibly set up a follow-up with her, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm getting at. Or if you're, yeah. If I'm out with my kids, my situation right now, it ain't going to work.
Great. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Everything about recruiting and prospecting is situational, absolutely 100%. But the biggest thing is figuring out, where is she going? How much time does she have to recruit? And what's her approach? What questions is she asking in order to get them interested in the opportunity? Right? So you guys nailed it. I don't really think there's anything else. You can also talk about, maybe has she ever recruited before? Is this her first time recruiting? Where does she feel like she struggles the most when it comes to recruiting? And that might help her open up a little bit more. And then let's talk. You guys did great on that. I think that's fantastic. You just want to try to figure out, obviously, so then you can start to help them feel more comfortable. So let's move on to inspiring action and assume that while we were investigating the why, we uncovered that Jill lacks the skills to do effective discovery because she's never had to do it before. So Jill says, no, I've never recruited before. So I just go out and basically just say, hey, you want to join my team? Which is probably the answer you guys hear a lot. So what might you recommend to help Jill become more comfortable executing discovery? So she's never done this before. She does not have the skill. She has the will because we know she wants to grow her team. But how can we help her with feeling more comfortable approaching people?
Hey, Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting off.
Okay.
Y'all have a good day, and I'll talk to you next weekend.
Awesome. Have a good wedding.
All right. Thank you. Don't forget to send me the recorded link because I'm going to try to watch it tomorrow night.
I won't. Don't worry. All right. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So do you guys want me to repeat the question?
I was going to say, can you repeat that, please?
So how can we make Jill more comfortable and feel that she can be effective and also be skillful before she goes out recruiting again? You guys do it. I know a lot of you do it.
We can start by saying, would you like for me to go out with you?
Oh, favorite. Yes.
Yes.
Or let's role play.
Love it.
That's one of my favorite ones is to, try it out on me but I like going out with the person. Like I'm going to schedule to go out with one of my teams that I'm looking to help coach. So just ask her permission to, go out with her and demonstrate it first, because a lot of times we don't know what it looks like, or we don't know.
Yeah, you need to model it, right? So Jill, when's the next time that you're going out prospecting or running errands? I know that's when we used to do a lot as district managers with brand new people. We would say, when's the next time you're going to go grocery shopping and run your errands? And they'd be like, Thursday at noon. Great. Where do you go? Great. I will meet you at the Food Lion Thursday at noon. And then the biggest thing you can say, though, is you're then the model, right? Model it a couple times. Like model it, a couple times you get the information. Maybe you set up a follow-up on, Friday for coffee across the street at the Starbucks, whatever it is. But then it's Jill's turn. So remember, we're not doing it for them anymore. We're just shadowing. And then they're doing it, and then you guys can talk about it. They're going to flub up at first. We know this, and that's okay. It's very uncomfortable at first, but the more practice they get, the better they're going to do. But I love that. I mean, I think those are the best two that you can do. If you can get out there with them, great. If you can't, role model every situation that they've had to date. So as many situations as they can think of, start to role model with them and see what a different outcome would have been.
Those were both of the thoughts that I had.
Great.
But something that, I'm sorry, I feel like I interrupted.
No.
But one thing that I think also needs to go into that, and it's kind of a negative, but they also need to know that they're going to get no's, and that's okay.
Yes.
Because believe me, I've had lots of them. And I was in another direct selling business, and they need to understand that that's okay. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, give them that, for every 20 no's you get one yes, or for every 10 no's you get one yes. Absolutely.
Exactly, because just starting out, it's very much of a downer to not get those first couple yeses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're first starting out, a lot of people stop completely.
Yeah, you need to be able to handle rejection. So maybe that's a question that you ask. So let me see what happened. So Jill, tell me about the last time that somebody said no. How did that make you feel, and how did you overcome it? Because you'll get an answer right away, right? I love that, Lori. I think that's fantastic, because they may have said, well, I stopped and I went home and I haven't tried since. That might be your answer to why they're not getting any new recruits, right? I mean, it's honesty. Again, it's that transparency. I'm not going to tell somebody that they're going to sign up every single person that they talk to, because that is not the reality. Great.
Jessica,
yeah.
I think that the no's are also teaching opportunities.
Absolutely.
Because when someone says no to you, then you're going to go back and reflect on how did you feel and how did you handle that no, and it will help you learn. Some experience in there will help you for the next time. So the next time the no will be maybe not as dramatic, but you can handle it a little bit better.
Yeah, and maybe instead of them walking away completely, you were able to give them a brochure and they're one of your customers now, right? Yeah. A no doesn't always have to be an absolute no. We can turn it into something else. And sometimes we can't, to Lori's point, and that's okay too, but we have to move on and reflect on if there was anything we could have done differently. And if there wasn't, then guess what? Okay, it was just a no then. No worries. It happens to everybody. We all hear no. We all have rejection, right? It's a part of life.
No doesn't mean not. No means not now, maybe. No means
yes.
Not today, maybe. No means not ever. This is not my time of day. No.
That's right.
It's just not personal.
That's right. Yeah. And just, I think letting them know that though up front, especially if they're saying that to you, Lori, like, oh my gosh, I get so many no's, then obviously you know that that's their struggle, right? That they're getting no's and it's discouraging them.
I think the other thing is, and I can't remember if it was Patricia or Valerie, and this is basically kind of repetitive to what they said, and is basically, it's not a mistake unless it was like something really drastic that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I instill this with my children, is a mistake is something you learn from.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever you did, you know, to do somehow differently, you change it.
Change one thing.
So you may
one
think,
word.
You may think you made a mistake, but you're going to learn from that, and you're going to excel from that. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, I've got a lot of other stuff going on, so my mind's not completely there. But it's good to make mistakes sometimes because you learn from them.
Right, and
you don't want to make mistakes.
Right? It's practice. Again, the more you practice, the better you'll feel. The more you practice, the more things will come more naturally to you. If you only do it twice a week, then chances are you're probably not going to be very effective at getting a recruit. If you do it 25 times a week, you're probably going to get somebody, right? Because you're going to start to feel more comfortable and more confident with your interactions. So as you engage in these interactions with your team members, you want to also remember to document the process. So you've got this on the screen. This is a coaching plan. What I want to say to you guys is this is for you. I don't want you to feel intimidated by this. I don't want you to feel like, wow, Jess gave me a lot of work for this module and I'm really getting mad at her because she is making my life miserable. I want you to utilize this as a tool with the people you're coaching in order to have that plan. So some of the stuff that it includes is why. Why did you choose this person? That's the first page. Before you begin coaching, did you ask for permission? And then did you build their trust and get to their heart? So did you learn about their heart, their why? Do you know their competencies, like we talked about in the beginning? And now what are your coaching priorities? What is your plan for coaching this person? Based on what you know, how will you customize your approach with this person that you now have a relationship? And then you can document your ongoing coaching interactions on that third and fourth page. Now, what I will say to you again is this is not for me. This is for you. I have had some people fill this out during the coaching program as they're starting to coach someone and send it to me to let me know how it went. It is not required for you to send me this portion. It is simply a tool and support for all of you to utilize as you're having these conversations. Because let me tell you, once you start having conversations with 10, 15, 26 people at a time, 3 or 4 in a week or in a day, you're going to forget and they're all going to start to mumble jumble together. So this just kind of keeps it a little separated for you. It also keeps you focused to what your end goal is. So focus to what you talked about this time and what you're talking about next time. Are you on task with the competency that they need help with? Those kind of things. I hope you like it, and I hope that you utilize it because it really does help. This is the piece that is due back to me on our one-on-one. So this is your application guide for the week. Hopefully you've all got it. You should have got it from me Thursday afternoon. But the first part will be very simple. It will just be 2 people that are potential coachees on the bottom there. So you should already have that information because we identified it in the last module. So it shouldn't be a lot of thinking for you. You can just write them down. And then the first part is, like Patricia said, she knows 2 people's heart already. So what I like to do in this first part is write down everything I think that the person's going to say when I start to ask them these questions, and then actually set up, so ask permission and set up the coaching conversation just to start to get to know them and see if they answer what you already thought about them. If it's somebody you don't know at all, then obviously don't write anything in there of what you think they're going to say. But there's some of you that I think I knew really, really well before we started the coaching program. Like some people I've worked with for 4 years on a, monthly, biweekly basis, really close to, that when I asked them some of these questions, it was not what I thought they were going to say. So it always helps me learn, and I hope it helps you guys learn more too about what they really want. So it is invaluable to ask these questions. And then that second page is really just starting to think of some of those grow questions again. So, getting to know them, some open-ended questions, some digging deeper questions. How are you instilling confidence in them? So validation, right? And then what are their things that you're going to go over in the next coaching conversations? So we want to make sure that you're getting ready to coach a couple of those people. So just really think about the 2 people that you want to coach, okay? And I encourage you guys are all ready. So encourage you to start having those conversations, those real conversations, especially this time of year. Now's the time to do it. So here's the next hot topic question for next Thursday. So who has most influenced your success with your Avon business and why? So think about that. And obviously next week when I send you the link, I'll put it in there so you guys have it. And then I'll leave you guys with this, but we're not going to leave yet because we're going to take a few minutes just to discuss what the rest of the program looks like. And I'm going to have you guys come off mute because I want to hear from everybody on the call. There's only 3 of you, so it will be up to you to decide for the group. But take this as your approach first. So your role is to enrich the lives of your team. So enrich the lives of your team by developing relationships through intentional interactions, designed to build confidence through inspiring the person's heart. So that's the RICH acronym. And I love that one. I think it's fantastic. So come off mute for me. Let's look at a calendar. So we've got 2 options. So it shouldn't be hard, but we've got 2 options here. So the week of the 19th of November, Monday the 19th, will still be our seminar for working the plan. Here's your options. We can either have no one-on-ones the week of the 20th or the week of the 19th. So you guys would have no one-on-ones that week, which none of you do anyway except Patricia. Everybody has a week 2 one-on-one with me. So week 2 would be November 26th. So we could potentially, unless you guys have plans or you're going to be out of town or whatever, we could potentially do all one-on-ones the week of November 26th for working the plan. and have our regular schedule collaboration call on Thursday, November 29th. None of this is interfering with Thanksgiving. And then our final call, because it's wrap up, I do the seminar and the collaboration all in one call, would be Monday, December 3rd at 11 a.m. Your other option is to have 3 weeks for Thanksgiving. So the seminar would still be on Monday, November 19th, but the collaboration, so we'd go a whole week, we'd have 3 weeks of one-on-ones to do. The collaboration would not be until Thursday, December 6th, and then we would not finish up the program until Monday, December 10th. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to keep on track with how we're going and finish on the 3rd, or do you want to have an extra week during that Thanksgiving holiday and
Option
on the 10th?
Option 1, finish up by December 3rd.
I
Myself
agree.
as well. The 3rd works for me as well. I'm not going out of
Third
town.
works too, because on the 6th I have an event.
So, I mean, literally across the board, I already knew that for most of you. I just wanted to hear it. So I'm going to say it right now. We will finish the program on December 3rd, Monday, December 3rd, and our program will go the same way it has with our biweekly schedule from here on out. Patricia, if you still want to do your one-on-one the day before Thanksgiving on Wednesday, I will be working, and I am fine with that. So we can potentially
wait a minute.
do one-on-one.
Okay, I've got on my calendar that I'm doing a one-on-one with you on the 14th, and then I have another one on the 28th.
I have got you. I do not have you on the 14th. I have you on the 7th, and I have you on the 21st.
Oh.
Because you are week 1. If you want to switch to week 2, I can, but it cannot be until either earlier or later because I have Val and Nicole's one-on-ones on those days.
Okay,
yeah.
well, I can take later because those days work for me. The week of the Wednesday before Thanksgiving will definitely not work.
Okay. That's fine with me. So I'll get with you offline, Patricia, and we'll talk because you're literally the only one that it affects because you are the only one who has a week 1 one-on-one. So we'll just schedule you for a week 2 one-on-one for the next 2 modules and we'll be good to go.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, we're good. That's all I've got for you. Anybody have any questions?
No, I'm good. I'll just have to clarify my dates for one-on-ones when we talk when we talk here in a few.
Yep, perfect. And I will talk to you in 30 minutes, Lori, okay?
Okay.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking with all of you in the next week and a half, okay?
Thanks,
All right.
Jess.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.